the new changes and regulations that are coming to the banking industry in the U.S. However, for a majority of the nation, there is still a huge confusion on how these changes will affect us in our everyday life. As an employee of a bank, I feel it is my job to be well-versed in these new regulations, but as a student, I feel it is my duty to my other fellow students to inform you of these changes and how it can change the way we bank today. Today I'm going to explain to you the basis of the new regulations and the best choice we have as consumers. Regulation E is defined by the FDIC as the new policy of electronic funds transfers. Basically, this means that the government has stepped in and said that banks can no longer authorize funds that the client does not wish to unless they have already stated otherwise. And if and only if that client does authorize these transactions, they can regulate how many and how often the bank can charge you fees. But the government can't regulate how much those fees are. Which brings me to my next point. Consumers have two options. You can either opt in or opt out to the new regulation. Opting in means the customer has authorized the bank to overdraw his or her account in the event that their purchases or transactions exceed their available balance. This being said, whatever charges you have to your account, fees will be incurred to reflect it. A customer also has the choice to opt out. When customers opt out, they say that they are not allowing the bank to overdraw their account at any point in time, and the customer will never incur any fees on the account. The concerns this presents to consumers is that, for example, say you take your girlfriend or a client out to dinner and you have $50 in your checking account. After dinner, the bill comes and it's $60. If you have opted in, the transaction will be approved and will result in fees. If you opt out and you have no overdraft protection, the transaction will be denied at the table, and that can be very embarrassing, especially on a first date. Another example is if it was an emergency situation, such as a flat tire, out of gas, or, in Texas, inclement weather. Opting in, if your transaction is approved, it will result in fees, and you'll have to pay the balance immediately in order to put your account in good standing. Or you'll be charged additional fees daily. If you opt out, the transaction will be declined, and the customer, you, will be left stranded. So what do we have as options of customers? Opting in, states the Federal Reserve, that the customers who opt in will be charged fees when the transactions overdraw your account. They can charge 6 NSF fees a day. For Chase, that's $180 a day you can be charged. And on the 6th day of your account being overdrawn, they can charge $5 a day for 20 days. That's $100 added on to the amount that you're already negative. If a customer chooses to opt out, though, they can do overdraft line of credit or a check reserve. This is the first option, and I think it is the best because it acts as an invisible net to your account. So when you go into the negative, it sweeps from this invisible net and covers the set amount of your purchase. The good thing about this is that you can pay it off in increments instead of having to pay your full account to get it back in the positive. So it's really great for unexpected expenses such as flat tires, tow trucks. We all know they cost a lot and we don't have money sitting around. Another option consumers have is sweep accounts. This is when you set up a savings or an alternate checking to draft the money into your checking in the event you overdraw your account. The problem with this is that the funds have to be there somewhere. I don't know about you, but I don't have money just laying around. And some banks charge you a fee every time you transfer money. So it really kind of hurts you in the end. Another option you have, though, is a credit card. You can attach a new or existing credit card to your checking account, so in the event that you overdraft, it'll sweep onto the credit card instead of making you go in the negative. The downside to this is, 1, you have to open a new credit card if you don't already have one with enough available balance. And 2, some banks make you open a credit card with them in order to set up the thing. It's kind of a catch-22. So what should we do? As consumers, we must unite. I think we should all do a check reserve or a line of credit because it's the best option for people in our situation. As young college students, we don't have much credit yet because we've only been out in the real world for a few years. The check reserve is awesome because it works as a line of credit, so it helps build your credit. This is also good for parents and single parents who are returning to school now with children that are in school in the elementary levels, because there's always unexpected expenses that you can never account for. And even though banks have been pushing customers to opt in to this new regulation, I want you to know that you have more options. Personally, I think the check reserve or the line of credit is the best option for the customers because it doesn't cost you anything unless you use it. I feel it is my duty to pass this knowledge around to you about these changes and offer you the best solutions that there are so that you leave here as more educated consumers ready to combat the varying markets of the world. Are there any questions about Regulation E and different things?
So how many fees can the bank charge you per day? What is the maximum?
The maximum is 6 fees. So say you have a $30 fee, which I think is Amity. They have $30. You can be charged 6 $30 fees per day if you overdraw your account. That adds up to be a ton, especially if you overdraft by maybe $1 or $2. It's really not worth not having overdraft protection.
For the check reserve, there isn't any charges for that? It's a free service?
It's a free service. There is an interest that will be paid on the overdraft amount, and I think it's about 18% at Amity. I'm not sure about other banks and how they allocate the percentage, but I'm sure it's 18%. But when you think about it, let's say we overdraft $10. 18% of $10 is what, $1 maybe a month that you have to pay? It's really worth it when you think of how many fees your account can incur in the matter of minutes after you overdraft. So I think it's worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you.